Don't go to bed yet, love.
Writing Goodnight Moon, it started out as just like a piano ballad, and we were going back and forth on what songs to do for do-overs and second chances, and I think we ended up writing like, it's got to be 20 songs for that record, and just going through, we took them up to ZK Productions, and the song just kind of clicked together as soon as everything was in place. It's like, I remember the lights are all out and they're super low, and you know, everybody's just really in like this kind of like trance, listening back through this mix and going like, man, like I feel like this is something that, you know, is something we're gonna remember. Like this song is something that's going to be remembered past us, past the band, and past the record for sure.
It was almost a song that didn't make the record, and so when we started working on it and just started layering and putting everything together, it just became this like beautiful song. And so I just remember being just like something that really started out so simple, but in the end it's a super dynamic song.
It definitely has a very special meaning to me because it was one of the very first oh wow moments, you know, because when we started being a band, we had 2 guitar players before Alex, and the way we always say it is Go Radio wasn't Go Radio until Alex was there.
It was part of our demos, but I didn't see its full potential prior to us actually getting in the studio and really vibing it out and really jamming it out, what it could be and what it turned into be. We felt the song was so special that we were actually able to get into that big studio and spend a little extra money. And the piano that we actually got to play, and I actually got to play on it, was actually one that Elton John had recorded on. Really cool to see as we got in the studio how it became just this really pretty demo that Jason did on piano, and turning it into this, you know, massive symphonic type opus, if you will.
Goodnight Moon is one of those ones that kind of birthed really quickly. 3 of us, being Alex, Steve, and myself, went home for the night. Jason stayed, and he was like, I'm gonna work on one more thing. And then when we came back in the morning, he had this idea for that song. And as soon as we played it, we were like, dang, that's a really good idea.
I remember there was a drum part in the verse, and it's like the super most simple thing, and it's just it's a hi-hat slur, just and Zach and Ken, they wanted to put it in this strange spot. It felt so strange to me. It just felt so unnatural. And to me, I'm like, I would play the part, and I would do the slur where I thought it fit in my head. But they're like, no, we want it here. And it took me forever just to put this little slur, hi-hat slur, in the spot that they wanted. And it's funny because now when I listen back to it, I always remember that specific thing.
Whether we had a 5-song set list or we had a 15-song set list, that song, we had to close with it. That was the song that people wanted to hear, and I guess that's a dream that most bands, you know, you're lucky if you're any band that has a song that stands the test of time and people just need to hear it no matter how many times they've seen you.
The goal is to tell a story and to have people be on that roller coaster with you, and you want them to track with you, and you want to go like, man, you know, like I had, you know, when we were writing this song, I had this huge well of happy emotion. So you want to build things around that because you want people to be prepared to have that emotion with you.
And I remember I had one little note about changing the arrangement of a couple of the notes, and it seems so minor, but now every time that I hear the song, it seems like it was such an impactful flip of 4 notes. You know what I mean? And I remember, since that was so early in our career, that was definitely a point of pride for me. Not to say that was my only contribution to the song, but just I remember I'm cooking spaghetti, you know, because they were working on some instrumentation. And then I come back in and we did this thing, and the song took off.
We were on a heavy tour when we were kind of playing that song for a short time, and we realized it was a popular song, so everyone's like, you gotta play it. And we're like, yeah, we love the song, we gotta play it. But at the same time, we would go on stage and, you know, we would kind of dread it to an extent. We're like, we hope at least half the crowd likes it, you know what I mean?
We're sitting there, we're about to go on stage with a 80TR and play a pop punk set. And there's this guy expecting like the most brutal breakdowns that ever happened.
But even then, it was the slow track on the record. We had all these fast songs. I was much younger then. I was in my early 20s. You know, I was all into the, you know, fast, let's play, everything super fast and fun, and I thought those songs, though they did, translate very well. Goodnight Moon was the one that really, you know, it took its own course, it took its own flight.
It's crazy being all in the same room again. You know, Jason went up to Tallahassee before we came into the studio to kind of write the song. You know, Burns was great with keeping me in the loop, you know, so it wasn't too much FOMO. I'm in California now, and you know, he'd text me like, "Oh, it went great," you know, Jay, it was so much fun getting back. It was like time never, you know, there was no gap. It was like kind of like it just took where it started where it left off.
We're back, and you know, we're kind of still the four best friends that we were before. You know, like it's been an easy thing to fall back into, and the same jokes are still funny. You know, like it's been a really easy thing and a really warming thing being back in a room with these guys. It's like rediscovering your friends.
I always get a little bit nervous or apprehensive. I think about pros and cons and what ifs and whatnot. That all went out of the window right out of the gate. What we had wasn't just a time and place in our lives, and it you know, it was just a flash in the pan. No, there's something special when the four of us get in a room.
We got super close with Wisner when we were doing Close the Distance, and spent a lot of time down here. We're in St. Cloud, Florida. You know, I live in Orlando. The guys are from Tallahassee. There's a connection with Florida that you don't get in other states. You know, you hear us sing about it all the time. Tallahassee, Tallahassee, Tallahassee. Florida, Florida, Florida. It is what it is. So whenever it came time to, you know, to record something else, like it was a conversation. It's like, hey, you know, where are we gonna go? We're like, well, obviously, you know, The Wiz.
He has been our favorite producer to work with. When we work with him, he gets our vision before we even say it, but we still go through it, and he says, right, and he comes back with what he sees. And when we work with him, it's like there's 5 members in the band, which I'm sure a lot of bands wouldn't enjoy, but we're all about putting out whatever is best, and there's 4 creative minds, so adding a 5th only helps.
Not a lot of things made me as proud as I was to be in Go Radio. And the friendships and the family that we developed over those years, it's unequaled. And it's not just the dudes in the band, but the people that we met and the lives that we touched and the lives that touched us. To know that there are some of those people that are still supporting us now and are still backing us up and are still waiting to hear new stuff and invested in this the way that they were then it's amazing and it's humbling. And to those people, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for sticking around and for continuing to have faith when maybe we didn't have as much faith as we needed to. And it's incredible to be back in this position.